Opening day is here. 26-man roster surprises. Here's why the Giants are poised to surprise in 2025, and also some spicy predictions for the upcoming season.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on the show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, hosting this show for over 6 years, and I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, so check us out there if you have not already, and please hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you're following the show. And coming up on today's show, what are we going to talk about? Oh yeah, the fact that it is opening day 2025, the best day of the year in my opinion. It is just a special day, should be a national holiday really in the United States. I don't know about Canada, they do have a team too. But anyway, we're going to get into some bold predictions, like I said, 3 specifically. We're going to talk about how many wins this team is going to have at the end of the year and why they could be poised to surprise. But the first thing I want to get into is the finalized roster. And the first thing is to say, man, it was annoying the last many years, basically under the whole time under Farhan Zaidi. They would wait so long to announce their roster. But thankfully, the Giants didn't do that this year. They put out their roster yesterday, pretty early in the day. Giants, it was yesterday at, it doesn't matter what time, 5 p.m. exactly. The Giants sent out an email that says the San Francisco Giants will open their 143rd National League campaign, which is like a shocking number, but there it is. 143 seasons of Giants baseball have set their 2025 opening day roster. So there are some surprises. We did essentially know what the pitching staff was going to be, and we broke it down 2 episodes ago. The last episode was a preview of this upcoming series with Jeff from Locked On Reds, and that was a ton of fun. But the surprises really are with the bench, and the bench was the big question. And I had even put out on Twitter that there were essentially like 5 or 6 players fighting for 3 spots, and it did seem likely that a lefty would be one of them, because you're talking about a bench, and this is a team that, again, under Farhan Zaidi, you would have seen a lefty or 2 on the bench here. But no, they went with a bench of Sam Huff, which is not surprising. We already knew that was going to happen. But the other 3, Casey Schmidt, Christian Koss, who, if he appears in a game, will be making his major league debut. So we'll get into Christian Koss. And also, Luis Matos. So that's not a surprise either. But Grant McCray was in the running, and you thought maybe they would go with having a lefty. So the surprise is kind of keeping both McCray and Wisely off the roster, because it leaves them with a 4 righty bench. And I've been told, I haven't looked at the kind of pitching matchups for the next 10 to 15 days, but that they're going to face a lot of lefties. And so I'd have to look and verify that, but that could be part of the reason why they go with this 4-man righty bench. But let's just get into what this roster looks like and break it down. So the pitchers in alphabetical order: Hayden Birdsong, Spencer Bivens, Camilo Doval, Jordan Hicks, Eric Miller, Robbie Ray, Randy Rodriguez, Tyler Rogers, Landon Roop, who's going to be in that rotation, Lou Trevino, who was added to the roster, to the 40-man roster, and they DFA'd David VR, who was out of options, meaning he had to make the team or else be DFA'd or traded. He still could be traded as part of the DFA deal. Justin Verlander, Ryan Walker, and Logan Webb. So the biggest surprise there, I guess, would probably be Spencer Bivens over a guy like Sean Jelly, and we did break that down already. but they do have kind of a similar profile. They can go 1 inning, they could go 4 innings, and Hayden Birdsong being in the bullpen is a bit of a surprise. He hasn't pitched in the bullpen in like multiple years in the minor leagues even. And Landon Roop is going to be that 5th starter to start the season, but they want to keep Hayden Birdsong stretched out. In fact, there was an update from somebody today. I've got some notes here. Maybe I didn't write them down, but from Alex Pavlovich. He said that they think they can keep Birdsong stretched out enough to start when needed. And so that's the thing. The opening day roster, it's exciting and fun to talk about and relevant to talk about, but it's going to change and roles are going to change. If people get hurt and underperformance happens, and I hope that by the end of the season, Hayden Birdsong has made a lot of starts and Landon Roop. But that would mean somebody underperformed or got hurt in the rotation. So we'll see how that all shakes out. So anyway, getting to the position players, Patrick Bailey, obviously stud defensive catcher, hitting a little bit higher in the lineup than I would have guessed. I had him somebody in a mailbag episode asked me to predict the opening day lineup, and I had him batting 8th, but in there today, we do have a lineup already, of course. I mean, it's not of course, but we do have a lineup, and that lineup they have Lamont Wade Jr. batting first. They have, I'm scrolling to find it and going off memory, Willy Adames batting second and playing short. They've got Jung Hoo Lee batting third and playing center. Matt Chapman batting 4th and playing 3rd. Elliot Ramos, the 19th different left fielder in 19 years to start on opening day. He has a chance to break that streak, I think. Unless he ends up moving to right, or has a really bad year, he has a chance to finally be the guy to break that streak. And then Patrick Bailey batting, 6th? Part of that is to break up the righties because it goes Chapman, Ramos, and then Flores at DH behind Bailey. So that's 3 righties and then a switch hitter and Bailey in between them. But Yaz batting 8th and playing right, Tyler Fitzgerald batting 9th and playing second. So I kind of would have guessed that maybe they would have switched Bailey and Yaz, but whatever. I mean, maybe they like the idea of having some easier outs at the bottom of the lineup. And also Bailey has started well offensively the last couple of years. It's not I think he has got breakout potential with the bat, which would make him like a true star if he can hit at all, because he's already kind of like a star because of what he does defensively. So moving on, Sam Huff, like I said, is going to be the backup catcher. They claimed him off waivers from the Rangers, and they put on the 60-day IL Tom Murphy, and that opened up a spot on the 40-man for Christian Koss, who's one of the infielders. Willy Adames, Matt Chapman, Tyler Fitzgerald, Wilmer Flores, Christian Koss, Casey Schmidt. Happy to have Schmidt on this roster personally, and Lamont Wade Jr. listed as the infielders, with outfielders being listed as Jung Hoo Lee, Luis Matos, Elliot Ramos, and Mike Yastrzemski. So the corresponding moves, Christian Koss had his contract selected. We will get into Christian Koss and who he is and what he brings to the table. I was really impressed in the few games I got to watch of him this spring. And they optioned Grant McCray and Brett Wisely, and Yoel Peguero and Max Stassi were reassigned, meaning they weren't on the 40-man, so they didn't need to be optioned, but they were reassigned to AAA. And Gerard Encarnacion was placed on the 10-day IL, and Tom Murphy was placed on that 60-day IL, which opened up the spot on the roster for Koss. So what does it all mean? What does this roster add up to look like when it comes to wins and losses at the end of the year? We will get into that. Also, a little breakdown of Mr. Koss, who is, like I said, in his first game will be making his major league debut. Why did he make the team? Buster Posey had some comments. So what is this team going to do in 2025? I'll tell you in just a minute. And before we do, Today's episode is brought to you in part by our good friends over at Prize Picks. Baseball season is now in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. Setting a lineup can take less than 60 seconds, and when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. I always take advantage of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. Like it lowers the more or less or raises it, and it's always worth taking advantage of. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Today's episode is also brought to you in part by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site that's made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks and a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled pros are already taking advantage. Now it is your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's at supplyhouse.com. All right, here we go. We are going to get into Mr. Christian Koss. Who is he? He made the Giants opening day roster. Why did he? And Casey Schmidt. And we'll give you a prediction, like realistic, for what I think this team is going to do and why I think they could be in line to surprise some people in 2025. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow we're going to be breaking down Game 1 of 162, Giants versus Reds, Logan Webb versus Hunter Green, and Giants in Cincinnati. It's been kind of a tough place for them, if memory serves, over the last several years, so hopefully they can break that trend and get off to a good start. I think that's important for this team. So Christian Koss, I do just want to mention, like him making this team as a, originally non-roster invitee, but having a very impressive spring in which he hit 341, 426 on base, 512 slugging, 50% better than average in spring. I don't know, again, I always say this, but I don't know if that's just the Cactus League that they're comparing it to, or spring, or including the Grapefruit League in Florida. But I think one of the things that Buster Posey probably liked quite a bit was that he made a lot of contact, just a 14.9% strikeout rate. And what impressed me, like I wasn't really familiar with Christian Koss, even though he spent all season last year in the Giants, 88 games in between the Complex League, AA and AAA, and overall was very good in those 3 levels, hitting with 376 on base, 496 slugging. He's 27 years old all year, and he was acquired in a trade prior to the 2024 season. So this was a Farhan Zaidi move. And so here you go. But what I was impressed with when I watched him, because not many spring games were televised, as many of you know, and rightfully so complain about, was his defense. And if you read the scouting report on Christian Koss, they're old scouting reports because he hasn't really been a prospect for a while. Well, I mean, he's never played in the major leagues, so technically he's still rookie eligible, so he still is a prospect. But he the scouting report was not great defensively, but what I have seen and what I think the Giants saw was that he, in fact, was very good defensively at some premium positions, such as shortstop. And so what's a little bit surprising is that they go with Koss in addition to Casey Schmidt, who's also got a calling card of good defense. And the other thing, though, that Koss brings to the table, I think, is speed. He stole 13 bases last year in, 88 games in the minor leagues. He was caught just once. And so I'm not exactly familiar with how fast he is, but 13 steals and one caught stealing in 88 games tells you that he's got an element of base running, pinch running, something like that, where they need to steal a base late in a game or whatever, and they can take advantage of it. We were talking to Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and we were talking about how the Reds catcher is good at a lot of things, but throwing runners out on steal attempts is not one of them, but a good framer. So Posey commented on adding Schmidt and Koss to Shayna Rubin of the Chronicle. She writes on Twitter, Posey said positional versatility had a lot to do with the decision to add Schmidt and Koss over Wisely and McRae. On Koss, Posey said, quote, he's just that type of player that I watched this spring that carried himself with such a confidence at short or third or wherever he was playing. He is, to me, the epitome of a baseball player. So some of you might roll your eyes because these are all baseball players. They're professional baseball players, but I know what he means. Like, I wrote kind of the same thing on Twitter when I found out that Koss made the team. I said that he just struck me as, I forget exactly how I worded it, but like a gamer and a grinder, a gamer and a grinder. Like, and I was impressed with his at-bats too. And I was actually at the game, the second exhibition game against the Tigers at Oracle Park, and Koss just hit a missile double into the left center field gap and just immediately put his head down and starts, running hard. So just a grinder and a gamer, and making his major league debut in the first game he appears in, assuming he appears in a game. And I will point out, like, the Zips projection system is pretty bullish on Christian Koss in 103 games, predicting 7 homers, 8 steals with an impact glove, like 1.5 wins above replacement in just 103 games. So that would be some nice contribution if that were to come to pass. But the depth charts projection that Zips does, meaning Dan Zimborski of Zips, says, hold on a second, we don't actually think he's going to play in 103 games, and instead he's going to play in 26. And the, win total or WAR projection goes down. So anyway, right-handed hitter, I was impressed by what I saw defensively. Can play short, can play third. I think could probably play second too. And so can Casey Schmidt. That's the thing. He can play certainly third is his primary position. Has looked a little out of place at short, I think, but also has hit well. Like, it's worth noting, Schmidt ended last year with an above average slash line at the major league level, hitting .252 with a .283 on base. That on base is pretty ugly, but the .477 slugging is not. 6 homers in 40 games, probably a lot of doubles, 4 doubles and a triple. That's 11 extra base hits and 16 singles. So a lot of extra base hits mixed in for Casey Schmidt, and just ended the year really hot too. And so I like just giving Schmidt a look here and getting him some at-bats, and hopefully he can break out, and then they have a good problem on their hands where they have too many infielders and not enough spots for them all, because short and third are definitely taken. Second base possibly a little more open if Fitzgerald struggles, which is a possibility, because struggled in spring, although he turned it on kind of late, hit a home run in that game I was at, and also brings an element of speed and athleticism as well. So anyway, getting to the meat and potatoes of it, how many wins will the Giants have in 2025? The answer is, as always, I have no actual idea, because it is very difficult to predict. And, let's just look one more time at the projections because I'll use those and my own brain to come up with a number. But there's like 5 projection systems here on Fangraphs. The first is just called Fangraphs, and then they have one called Fangraphs War. Fangraphs says 81.6 wins for the Giants. Fangraphs War, I don't know how that's different exactly, 80.5. So I think framing is not included in that, so maybe Bailey's glove adding a whole win there. Bailey's framing alone, I think it adds more than a win, honestly, when you break it down. 80.5 by Fangraphs War. ATC, completely different independent projection system that they feature, 81.5. So that's almost identical to that first one that we read. Here's one that we like. The Bat X has the Giants at 83.5 wins. I actually thought it was a little higher. It seems to have made a final update and gone down a little bit and has them finishing in third place by 1/10 of a win below Arizona, but also having the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, like sixth best record by 1/10 of a win. So that has them making the playoffs. No, they would miss it by 1/10 of a win behind Arizona, according to this. But that would be a tie with Arizona, essentially. Anyway, this oopsie projection system says 81.3. So annoyingly, they all seem to be they all seem to be lumping the Giants around that 81 win mark, which they can't seem to get away from. They cannot seem to get away from 81 wins-ish. And so I'm saying that this is the year that, because keep in mind, these are median win projections. So they run, whatever, 1 million simulations of a season. And this is the, middle number. So half of the projections have them winning more than this, and half of the projections have them winning less. And so what are the chances you actually hit your middle projection? Not high. You're going to probably be somewhere on the other end or either end of that middle point. And so I'm just saying, to heck with the projections. This is just going to be a year. The vibes are good right now after a tremendous spring, and that they're going to exceed expectations. I do think that the projections are kind of a little bit down on them, given I think you look at, what do the projection systems say about some of these young pitchers, for example, like Hayden Birdsong and Landon Roop. I really think those guys could make a significant impact. And then you've got established talent, and then Jung Hoo Lee back, Patrick Bailey being a stud at what he does, Elliot Ramos. We'll see some breakout candidates, and Fitzgerald and Schmidt, and the pitchers, like I said, Birdsong, Roop, Harrison's in AAA. That's how deep their young pitching is, and more guys in AAA, and then Luis Matos on this roster, and probably going to get a shot at some point to overtake Yastrzemski on the depth chart. And then you've got other guys like Marco Luciano in AAA as well. So I'm just going to say that some things go right, and that the Giants win. I've made this number prediction multiple times, so I'm just going to do it again. 86-76 and sneak into the playoffs. I wanted to say 88. I think that was, let's just say 88. Or is it 87? Because I want to say 87. We'll look back on this and see just how wrong I was at the end of the year. But anyway, coming up in just a minute, I mean, that is kind of a bold prediction to say 87 wins. I think 86 is a little more or less shocking. But anyway, we're going to make some bold predictions, and we're talking bold for 2025 coming up in just a minute. And before we do, today's episode of Locked on Giants is brought to you in part by Wonderful Pistachios. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Check out Wonderful Pistachios. Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein. I have the package here to prove it. These are delicious, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip or just need a quick protein boost, it's always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Today's episode is also brought to you in part by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, shopping online, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with a partner is smoother than ever, and you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off, half off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. All right, here we go. 3 bold predictions ahead of the 2025 campaign for the San Francisco Giants. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers tomorrow. Oh, so sweet. We're going to have a baseball game to talk about. Hopefully a good one. Giants have a tendency in recent memory to lose on opening day. So, like I said, I'm going with not 2021 vibes of them winning 107 games. Talk about exceeding your median win projection. That was like their 100th percentile outcome that year. But hey, just be like 75th percentile and just make the playoffs. Dang it. Anyway, I lost track, but it's bold prediction time. So if you listened to yesterday's episode, you already heard me make this prediction, but my bold prediction is not just that the Giants will finally have a hitter hit 30 home runs in a season for the first time since 2004, which is unbelievable. I mean, we're talking over 20 years that they haven't had somebody hit 30 home runs, and every other team has had at least, I want to say, I read this somewhere, and I believe the number is 4. Each of the 29 other teams has had at least 4 30-homer seasons during that span. Don't quote me on that because it may be like 3, but it's more than 2, and I don't think it's 5. But the Giants have had 0, and it was Bonds, and he played in 05 and 6 and 7, so it wasn't even his last year. So my goodness. But this is the year, folks. This is the year. They're going to have 2 players, not just 1, but 2 players hit 30 or more home runs. And it's going to be Matt Chapman and Willy Adames. There you have it. Matt Chapman and Willy Adames will each surpass 30 home runs, giving them what will amount to the best left side of the infield in baseball, because they're going to be good defensively as well. So that's bold, spicy prediction number 1. And then number 2, I was thinking about this, and I really gave it a thought, because again, if you listen to my show yesterday with Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, he's fantastic, but that was a lot of fun. Check it out if you haven't already. It's a preview of this series and the seasons for these teams. But Logan Webb, he finished 2nd in Cy Young voting in 2023. He's received Cy Young votes in each of the last 3 years. I gave it a good hard look, and I believe Logan Webb is going to win the Cy Young Award in 2025. And here's why. The number one reason is volume. He is going to pitch a lot of innings, assuming he's healthy, which let us pray. And he is always among the leaders. In 2022, he almost threw 200 innings, but he was shut down at the end of the year because they were out of the playoff race. And in 2023 and 2024, he exceeded 200 innings. So ultra reliable in that respect. But here's a kicker. Infield defense. Logan Webb is like the best ground ball pitcher in the game, if not the second best, like behind Framber Valdez of the Astros. He's up there. Like he and Framber Valdez are like the elite of the elite in terms of starting pitchers who get ground balls and prevent homers. And you've got Willy Adames and Matt Chapman and Tyler Fitzgerald and Casey Schmidt and Christian Koss, and even Wade is no slouch at first either. And Flores is solid defensively at first, not at other positions. So suddenly Logan Webb finds himself with probably or even definitely the best infield defense he's ever had behind him. And he's going to throw a ton of innings. So I'm just saying, the stars are aligned. I think Paul Skeens, like who's the favorite right now, may be limited in terms of innings. And so that could hold him back. Zach Wheeler getting up there in age. Wheeler, he's going to be 35, I think, this year. So I don't know. He's going to turn 35 in May. So a 28-year-old Logan Webb, I think that this is the year that he puts it all together. Many have written, I've seen it like written on Fangraphs and elsewhere, that they think that Webb has a Cy Young season in him. And I think this is the year that he does it. So 230 home run hitters. Why did I put up a 3? 30 with my hands for those not watching on YouTube. 230 home run hitters, a Cy Young season from Webb. Wow, talk about magical if those things happen. And then my third prediction, and this was, I swear, like they didn't steal it from me, but I was thinking along the same lines, is that the Giants will lead the major leagues in bullpen ERA. And I think that people are sleeping on the talent of their bullpen. People are sleeping perpetually on, certain guys like Tyler Rogers, who's just consistently been excellent. Ryan Walker is just extremely good and has a disgusting pitch mix. Tyler Rogers has a career 2.93 ERA, by the way. Camilo Doval, 3.33 ERA. Ryan Walker, 2.48 ERA. Like, these guys are good. And then you add in Eric Miller, who had kind of a breakout rookie season, a little bit under the radar. Really good projections of low to mid threes from Eric Miller. And then guys like Hayden Birdsong just right now being in that bullpen, and a lot of young pitching. Tristan Beck, Kyle Harrison, guys who will pitch out of the bullpen, but are Sean Jelly, capable of being starters. Randy Rodriguez is a guy who gets slept on a little bit as well. And if you look at the stuff quality for Randy Rodriguez, it's very good. And the peripheral numbers for him last year, 3.19 expected ERA, 3.34 fielding independent pitching. So a lot of reasons to like this Giants bullpen. I think the ultimate results were not great last year. Camilo Doval, by the way, total bounce back candidate. I fully expect him to get back to being normal Camilo Doval this season. He was in spring. He had a 2 ERA, 1.73 fielding independent pitching, 35% strikeout rate, walk rate, really important for him, just 5.9%. So fully expect, and so do the projections, a bounce back season on the mound for Doval. So there you have it, folks. 3 spicy predictions ahead of opening day, which is just a few hours away at the time of this recording. So I hope you're able to listen before the game gets underway. We'll be back tomorrow with an episode talking about game 1 of the season. Hopefully it's a good one. No rain in the forecast, but there is rain for the weekend games. Anyway, thanks for making Locked On Giants your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On MLB season previews. Every contender, every division, including the NL West, of course. Everything you need to know. Find all 6 episodes of Locked On MLB, or on Locked On MLB, on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Once again, my name is Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter or X at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. It helps me out a ton. Thanks in advance, and thank you so much to everyone who's done so already. I really, truly cannot wait to be with you again tomorrow. Thanks again for listening. Today, you are now Locked On Giants.